Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is your host, your boy, your one and only Galaxy, and I'm signing in to another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing in for Comic-Con Radio. Coverage of pop culture events from around the globe. Amazing interviews with celebrities. Daily recaps and reviews of popular television. The Walking Dead. Z Nation. Van Helsing. DC Titans. Flash. The Legends of Tomorrow. Black Lightning. American Horror Story. The Green Arrow. Movie reviews. Everything Comic-Con and fandom from around the globe. Comic-Con Radio. Get ready to enter our universe. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in again. I love that you're back, because if you're listening to this, that means you're back. You're back to hear another episode, and this episode is special to me because, like I always say, I'm a fan first. And beyond anything else, I love The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. Beyond anything else. I might say that's for some other shows as well. You might say, oh, you say that about everything, Galaxy. No, I love The Walking Dead. It's amazing. The Walking Dead deserves a whole day premiere show just about it. It's a great, amazing. The show actually kind of changed my life as far as television goes, as far as Sundays go. Sunday was the boringest day of the week for me, and because of The Walking Dead, it has become my Super Bowl. I love the show. So this episode is dedicated to The Walking Dead Season 9 premiere. Clapping. So to get into this a little bit, I'm going to start talking about different things. I might go back into season 8, bring up some old wounds, and just really go at it, because it was an hour and a half long episode. Yeah, it was an hour and a half long. Many might say that it was too dramatic and too slow for them. For me, it was great. It started off the season very well. It answers some questions that we have of, okay, what happened? And you guys all know it's about 18 months after the big war. You know, our savior, not Negan, our savior Rick Grimes, played by Andrew Lincoln, saved us. He was the one that ended the war. And, you know, throughout this episode, people are praising him for that, calling him a hero. You know, he's like the George Washington of, you know, the current zombie era for the show. So in the beginning of the episode, you see some great things going on. Now, zombie fans and, of course, Walking Dead fans, you know already from all these stuff going on. See, here's the thing. Television is different now because you have events like Comic-Con, hint, and you have all sorts of fan sites and actual regular media that talks about these shows regularly. So seeing them coming on horses, if there wasn't the social media and all these big Comic-Con events and all these things going on explaining that, hey, in season 9, we're going to be riding horses and this and that, you would be like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's still cool to see them on horses because the characters changed. You know, all through seasons 1 through 8, they were trying to find whatever, cars, motorcycles, whatever they can get their hands on. But in season 9, you kind of notice that horses are basically the it thing. So they got their hands on horses. It's 18 months in. They probably got them from everywhere. To me, the apocalypse has been going on for many years now, and for horses to be alive and not eaten, That's a really amazing thing. So either they bred these horses, or there was somebody that was keeping these horses alive and they went and took them, or there was many farms and areas raising them and the team got their hands on horses. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up, because many people are like, okay, everybody's dying, everybody's been eaten, only the strong of the strong are surviving. And you've seen episodes through the previous seasons where horses are attacked and eaten. Duh. Season 1, episode uno and dos. So where did the horses come from? They came from the imagination of The Walking Dead. But no, they probably did something like that. And I'm hoping that you guys can understand that, because many people send us questions. Okay, what about the horses? Where did they come from? So besides that, let's get on with the show. I wanted to kind of like go over that little notion real quick. It's the apocalypse. They got the horses, okay? They got them from somewhere. And just put that into your own imagination. So basically, in this first scene, it's a very powerful scene because your most favorite characters are in that scene. You have Rick, which is amazing. You have Carol, and you have Daryl, and you have Ezekiel, you have Maggie, you have Anne, you have Cindy from Oceanside. So all these communities are together. So basically, the leaders of every community, or the powerhouses, have been together for this run. And you see this buggy type of thing with like modern wheels on it being pulled by a horse, and you see Rick in the front with a Negan bat annihilating these zombies, him and Michonne, the power couple. That's like Barack Obama and Michelle Obama right there, the power couple. So they're powerful, those two. And they're so on point. Like, they know what's up. They're very strong together, amazingly strong. And separated, they're strong as well. But you see them in the front doing that. That scene right there was amazing. I know the episode didn't start with that scene, but that scene was the start of the episode for me. The start of the episode, it was at Rick's house, and Judith was painting on a canvas with Michonne. And then Rick joins them. And then there's like this music, in the background. And then they're in this field and they're watching the flock of birds. And then it goes into, that scene right there. And to talk about birds, what did you guys think about the crow scene at the sanctuary? When they're, those crows are eating their corn, because I think they're using the corn for fuel, to make fuel out of it. That's what the sanctuary is doing. But did you see that moment right there? Because Daryl's there. I think Daryl's the head of the sanctuary. And they take the zombie, trying to make it into a scarecrow. And it's like, scaring the crows or birds, whatever, away. And then Daryl's like, what the hell are you doing? That's not humane. And he shoots it, he shoots his arrow into the head and said, hey, that ain't happening. So that shows that besides everything that's going on and everything that's happened to him and the tough life he's so humane. He has that heart that he doesn't even want a zombie being treated that way. He's a good dude. And I'm so happy that they added his character in the TV show, because Daryl is not from the comic books. He is a character that was added, and he is a very amazing character. The scene to go back on that really got me is the scene in downtown Washington, D.C. Now, before I go into this, at the end of that thing, when they did that big raid and they got everything they needed, didn't you see the lawn heading to the Capitol building? Didn't that look like Trump's inaugural? Yes, I said it. Didn't it look like it? It was all empty, and it gave that like creepy vibe. That was Trump's inaugural event in front of the Capitol building. But anyways, let's go back to The Walking Dead Season 9. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that you can always reach us. Where do you reach us? comicon-radio.com. Send us an email or give us a call at 1-800-976-0305 or on social media at Comic-Con Radio. And that's for every platform. It's at Comic-Con Radio. So that scene starts off with, you know, Rick and Michonne cleaning out walkers. You know, and like I said, it was Ezekiel, Michonne, Alden, Gabriel, Cindy, Carol, Daryl, Aaron, Jesus, and others. They're writing there, plus some new faces. You know, you have the blacksmith's son, Ken, and all these dudes. And you know what happens to him, but let's go in order. So they're writing down the street, clearing things out. They're going to the art museum. I think that's the National Museum of Art, I believe. I think. You know, DC holds many amazing museums, so I'm thinking that's what it is. And sorry for clearing my throat. I might edit it, I might not. So the group are killing walkers, and they split up on different missions. And I didn't know what they were going for. At first, I knew they were going there to get things. I thought they were going to use it for their new home, or they were going to make it the, new office for the leaders or whatever, things like that. But they're going there for a very smart thing, which they didn't think of before. And I think as the seasons evolve now, these museums, a lot of these like natural history museums and stuff like that, they have all sorts of beans and seeds. They're heirloom seeds that are seeds from hundreds of years ago of how the vegetables were or the fruit were, and they keep those in stockpile. I don't know if it's because they're a museum, they use it for show, or they're going to plant things and grow them and make them part of the museum exhibits, but a lot of them, they keep that. So that's what they're basically there for. Plus, they're trying to get a bunch of other things because, these museums have things in them. They have items that are probably made back then that are going to be necessary now because of no major electricity or fueling and stuff like that. But going to this big staircase, there's this huge glass floor, and below it is like a scene from a classic zombie movie. Glass floor, zombies underneath. I thought there was water there, but I was like, duh, the water's dried out. They're just walking underneath. They're walkers walking. And they're just walking around. But this glass, it's foreshadowing some kind of problem that's going to be happening. And they're trying to make up the stairs. Now, the glass is okay because they're walking over it at this point. So they go up the staircase and they're looking for things. And they go down this room. And Gabriel and Anne, they put down a walker. And ironically, that wall of evolution from like the ape to man. In the front, the zombie got killed at the right time. And it shows the evolution of man because it went from ape to man to zombie. And, Anne makes that comment like, hey, that's cool. Or something like that. But anyways, it was kind of cool. And, on the next level, there's a canoe. So Cindy tries to get that canoe because, she's from Oceanside. And they still have that going on and thriving because it's very important. It's right there by the water. It's a very important outpost for them. And her and Daryl start having a conversation. And they talk about memories. And I like the dramatic parts of the show a lot because what I've noticed with the show, they have their action parts, they have their group parts, and then they have their one-on-one drama parts. It's kind of like a soap opera where they group them and then they single them out. And the two people that are in that conversation are shown speaking about whatever they need to speak about, which is kind of cool because it goes over different things of what's going on. You got to also understand that the show is very important to a lot of people's lives. And two of the main characters are going. Now, something else that bothers me, and I'm sorry to say it, but what bothers me is that I know Rick is exiting and Maggie is exiting. Lauren Cohan, she's exiting as well. You know, she was in a current movie with Mark Wahlberg, and she's doing really well with that. And of course, I understand you can't be on a TV show forever, and these people, at the end of the day, they're actors, they're artists. This is their life. They want to evolve, especially both of them, they're British, so they probably live, you know, in the UK, and they have their families there and stuff like that. And they just can't be here in, you know, Atlanta, you know, taping and filming for decades, even though we want them to stay. But what bothers me is that throughout the show or throughout these episodes, and I've seen a couple of the episodes, so I don't want to get into those. I'm just going to go in order. But just to let you know, it kind of troubles me because as being a regular viewer, you're sitting there and saying, okay, they're going to get killed now. They're going to get killed now. They're going to get killed now. And kind of in a way, that anticipation is bothering me for tuning into the show. So, you know, throughout this first episode, there was a couple assassination attempts on Maggie. And you're like, okay, they're going to take her out in episode 1. I hope they don't take them out in a gruesome way. I just hope. Because I don't want that to happen like that. I'm hoping that the helicopter in the last episode of season 8 had kind of like a meaning. You know, that helicopter that went over Anne? And I hope that helicopter had some kind of meaning, because I want that to be some kind of like government office or some kind of elite group that saved the humanity, and they're like following these people and seeing how powerful they are and how organized they are, and they want to come and grab the leaders and take them so they can learn about how to redevelop life out there. Because if you are sheltered, if you're in a helicopter, that means you have special fuel, that means you have a pilot. And when you're flying around constantly, that means you have lots of that. And that also means that there's probably a very safe place that's kept you alive with plenty of food and everything else for many years. Because even though you have a helicopter in apocalypse, it can get robbed. Someone can hijack it. Walkers can still overrun it. Many, many things can happen. But I'm thinking, and I hope it's like a government office or something like that, comes ask Rick, Maggie, and says, hey, come back with us, teach us. You're the leaders, teach us. You're Rick for straight up what he is, you know, raw. He was a sheriff, he knows what's up, he abides the law, peacemaker, and also a very powerful dude. Maggie, she's been through a lot. You know, she was found on a farm, so she understands farming. Look what she did to the hilltop in episode 1. It's thriving. She's like feeding all the other outposts, and it's going great. So maybe her skills and his skills are what's needed, but everybody else has to say, because they still have to keep those people alive and still have to keep the outposts going, to say. So that's my kind of conspiracy. What do you think? I want to know. Do you think that they're going to die in some gruesome way? Or do you think that they're going to be chosen and taken, or they're going to go willingly to help make a new world again, a new America, as you call it? Let me know. Give me a call. Leave a message, 1-800-976-0305. Or email me, comiccon-radio.com. So let me know, because I really want to know what you feel about it. Now, going back to the episode, you see them grabbing a stagecoach. Now, you know, Rick makes a big comment, you know, during the episode. And it makes a lot of sense. He says we have to look to the past to move into the future, which is true, because the past, they used things that didn't need motors or engines or things like that. It was all human or animal powered. And it worked. It worked for thousands of years until the steam engine came and everything else, and gasoline engines and all sorts of other technology that they cannot get back online. Either they're not capable of it or something else, because everything's there. The infrastructure's there. It's not like it was a nuclear attack. It was a zombie apocalypse. So everything is still working. Satellites are still up in space. The stations are still working. Everything is still there. It's just the manpower's not there, or the qualified manpower to be able to run these things and make sure they're running smooth and they're done correctly, because you need, engineers, and you need, IT tech people, and you need people to run it, and the manpower. So I'm hoping there's that, but that's my hope. And, you can't look at the comics all the way. You can't, because, Angela Kang, she's the showrunner, and she's been there since season 2, and she's doing amazing. Now imagine this. I do this radio show and a couple other things, and to write material takes effort, because I don't just focus on one show. I focus on multiple shows, movies, different things, and it takes a lot of, time and effort and thinking. Imagine what goes on in her mind, that she's creating this entire Walking Dead world. She's writing it out of her mind. She's doing amazing, isn't she? I would love to interview her and talk to her, which I am, but I'll let you know when, because I got to talk to her first. But anyways, it's really mind-boggling. And, you've seen her interviews on Talking Dead on the Couch. You can't just look at the comic books, because the show's different. It's a TV show. If you follow the comic books all the way, then those fans of the comics will be like, okay, I know what's going to happen next. You got to give it some flair and flavor, some difference. Yes, it's going along the lines of what's up. And if you did read the comic books, you would know that season 9, even though Maggie and Rick is exiting, it's kind of like a beginning. Like if you ever taken martial arts and you become a black belt, hint, hint, and your sabomnim or sensei or sifu says, your journey has just begun, my student. That was little punch sounds and stuff like that. But your teacher says, your journey has just begun. That means when you get your black belt, this is the start of it. Now from here, you're a real martial artist, and now you're going to keep going and going and going, and to God knows when. I think that's what season 9 is compared to for The Walking Dead. They just received their black belts, and they're going to be going. And it takes a couple of years to test for the next stripe, 1st degree, 2nd degree, all that. So I think that's what's going on. I know that's what's going on, because there's more of the story to be told. Let me tell you guys something. Walking Dead ain't going nowhere. They cannot go anywhere. The franchise is too big. It's beyond big. Look what happened at New York City Comic Con. My God. They went from 40,000 people to 250,000 people in a year. I think it had a lot to do with the cast of The Walking Dead being there, because that was kind of like Rick's last, well, he might come back on the show, we don't know, but his last panel as, being in a full season on the show, and people wanted to see him. You might say I don't give all the credit to him, but there's just a lot going on in our universe. That's right, in our universe. And I'm Galaxy, so you're in my galaxy, in our universe, and I'm taking care of you guys. So that's what's up. So just wanted to get into a little bit of that, because I have a lot to say. There's so much to say, and every week I'm going to be covering The Walking Dead, every episode. I'm not just going to do a recap and talk about it. I'm going to bring up points and facts that you guys emailed, that you guys messaged, you called about. Also my own theories. Even though I know what's going to happen in the next episode, sometimes, I still going to bring up these theories because I have to come from the mind that doesn't know what's going to happen in the next episode. So coming down those staircases, you see the glass cracking. Now, normally what I would have done is I would have took the stagecoach, brought it down on the other side of the staircase. It's the apocalypse. I don't care if the staircase, barriers or whatever are broken or not. I would have just shot it over there away from the glass. But being The Walking Dead, they don't got time. There's zombies everywhere. They're like, we got to go back. They're like, let's just go through the hardest way because, I don't know, they're trying to make life difficult or making the show better. Wink. So they're going through the glass and the glass starts cracking. And everybody gets through it except the king. And the king falls through the glass and he's hanging and the walkers are grabbing him and they're doing all these things. And it's like a big, treacherous situation. It was crazy. And they're trying to push him up. And you got to understand, as they're trying to rope him up, there's sharp glass. And that glass is probably super thick because if it could hold all that weight from people walking, it's super thick and it's sharp. So it's cutting the rope kind of as it's going. And they're worried. So they throw this big cushion mat on the glass so he doesn't get cut, which was smart. Because if he would have just got on the glass, I would have said, nah, anybody knows that their hand went through glass. You touch a little speck of it, you're cut. So they put the big cushion down and they push him up. While they're pushing him up, a walker grabs his foot and is like, yummy. And then, boom, Daryl hits him in the head with an arrow, gets him, and they pull him up, and Ezekiel shares the biggest kiss with Carol, and the group moves forward. They're like, all right, this is like every day for them. Zombie one tries to bite them, zombie tries to whatever. Maniac comes. This is nothing. Like, all right, let's go, dude. If this is any other situation, oh my God, are you okay? Oh my God, do you need to go see somebody? Do you have PTSD? I said it right, PTSD. So he's like, nah, I'm the king, Ezekiel. So anyways, they kiss, and the group rides down and goes out. Now, as the group is riding, Alden talks with Ken about taking on blacksmith apprenticeship with his father. He's asking him, hey, will your dad let me in? I want to, be an apprentice. And he's like, yeah, sure. No problem. I'll talk to my dad about it. No problem. And the group comes on a bridge. And I'm like, something's going to happen here. Something's going to happen. So they come across the bridge. And everybody's like, okay, what's the suggestions? Because the bridge is no place to cross, right? It's like messed up. So what goes on at that moment is they're like, okay, should we leave the carriage? Should we take it? And at that point, the carriage gets stuck in mud. So they all hop off. They're pushing it. And one person makes a suggestion, hey, let's leave it behind. But Rick is like, no, we can do this. We could pull the carriage. And then all of a sudden, what happens? Walkers start approaching. And who goes there? Daryl and Michonne. He's like, you, go, get them, now. That was like a Kung Fu theater moment. He's like, you, go get the walkers, now. And Ken is trying to free the horses. He loves animals. He takes care of the animals. He's a really good person, good-natured. And the group starts to flee from the walkers. And Ken is like, no, I got to go free that horse. Because, they're kind of overpowered. They're like, if we stay here, fight the walkers. What I would have done is, you went all that way to get that stagecoach. Ezekiel almost died. There's all this crazy stuff going on. I know the bridge is effed up. Go kill their ass. You guys are zombie killing machines. You eat zombies for breakfast. You are the champion of heroes. What's 20 zombies for you? Come on. And Ken runs back, tries to free the horse. And then what happens? What happens? The walkers bite Ken. They bite him hard, And all of a sudden it goes to the dramatic scene where Maggie is kneeled over crying because, her wounds haven't closed up. If she sees somebody laying, dying, her reminds her of Glenn, her hubby. And she gets all emotional. And then she uses the knife and she sticks it right through his head. Now, have you ever tried to stab something? I have, like a pumpkin or a watermelon. It takes some force. But trying to stab a human, you know how much it takes to do that? I've never done it, thank God. But imagine what it takes. And especially, that's not a zombie. That's a human that just passed. And you have to stick a knife through its skull to help him, kind of give him peace so he doesn't become a walker. And, you got to take him back to his parents. Then they go back, and in that evening, Maggie breaks the news about Ken's death to his parents. And that's Tammy and Early. And Tammy mocks her husband for not taking action. These two are recovering alcoholics, both of them. They're sober, they're recovering alcoholics. Nagging someone in that situation is not a good thing. And Earl leaves the room. And then she turns on Maggie and verbally assaults Maggie. You're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. And basically, look, you're giving all our food to the saviors. Basically calling her weak and kind of, saying in a notion that Gregory would be a better leader. Now, see, Gregory lost. So they did an election. And in the election, Gregory lost, fair and square. But Gregory is a conniving, you know what I'm saying. That guy is a conniver. And you'll see in this episode what I'm talking about. So in that night, she's like, okay, you can't come to his funeral. She tells Maggie, you cannot come to his funeral. Maggie's like, okay, no problem. But that place is so small. Come on. You go outside your porch, you could see it. So it's like you're there even if you don't want to be there. You're like, okay, I'm not going to come. But I'm in the biggest house with the tallest terrace. I'm going to see everything. Now, going from the funeral and at the same time, Rick and Michonne and them, they pay a visit to the sanctuary. And of course, you know where the sanctuary is. That's where Negan's main uphold was. And the saviors are happy to see him. And you guys already know that Daryl's the new leader of the sanctuary. And Michonne spots something on the wall. And it says, saviors, save us. We are still Negan. And Daryl orders Justin. And you know who Justin is, Black Sails. We'll get into him maybe in next episodes. But that's a great character that entered The Walking Dead because I really loved him on the Black Sails. But beyond that, and he gives a little pushback. He's like, oh, we're out of paint. And Daryl's like, well, use this. He's like, we're out of that. He just gives pushback. And Daryl's like, you better get your ass up, boy, and do that before you know what I'm saying? Get your butt up. And he gets up. And back at the hilltop at the same time. Now, these things are happening at the same time. So they're going back and forth. It's showing, the show's evolving to where there's all these outposts that are controlled by Rick and group. And, there's Alexandria, there's Hilltop, there's the Kingdom, there's Sanctuary, and then there's Oceanside. Not Oceanside High, where Zach and them used to go to high school, but Oceanside, where Cindy's the leader now, or was always. So basically, at the same time, Gregory gives this touching speech at Ken's funeral, and he tells Jesus how grateful he is for what he has and all this. But at the same time, Rick is giving a speech for the remaining saviors, promising resources and supplies. Moments later, when that's over, Daryl and Rick have that one important conversation. And they've used this clip in episodes, well, not episodes, in marketing this episode or this season, weeks before the season launched. So that little clip right there is very important because Daryl doesn't want to be there. Come on, he was captured, put there, tortured there, and Daryl insists it won't work because those people still want Negan. It's like going to a country, taking it over, killing the king or taking the king. They didn't kill Negan, but taking him. And then all those people that were like his followers, you're making them yours. It's kind of hard, especially in the apocalypse time, because all these people are hardened by the killing, by the not having food, by the things they had to do to survive all this time. And Rick is like, it's okay, it'll be okay. But Daryl just wants to go back. And he doesn't want to go to Alexandria with Rick because, Negan's there. I don't know why Rick kept him alive. I know it's television and I know the writers, they did it in a certain reason. I don't know why, he would keep him alive. And I know the comics. I know what's up. I know everything. It's pre-written, whatever. All these things. It's all good. All these things. But they should have just let him go. But they couldn't because I think the story goes on from there. Negan had to be alive. And, fans of the comics, fans of the TV show, you know what's up. But, they keep him alive. And Daryl rejects it. Because Daryl was never in the comics. So this moment never happened there. This is a TV moment. And Rick's like, I need help in Alexandria. And he's like, no, I want to go to Hilltop. I want to be with Maggie. I don't want to be with you. And he says, it'll change forever. And Daryl says, you're the one that changed it. It's a very good statement. The way I'm saying it is not as meaningful. I really want to let you hear this clip. If you haven't heard it, this is a treat. If you have, you know what I'm saying. But let me get into this clip real quick. Listen to this. This is the conversation between Daryl and Rick at the sanctuary. Hear this out. We'll be right back.
What's up? I don't want to be the one leading these people anymore.
Okay. Why?
I don't know, being here. Behind these walls again, you just don't feel right, man. I'm better out there. I always have been.
You kept this place together. You kept people in line here. We can't just let the sanctuary fail after everything that's happened.
Man, it's gonna fail anyway. Nothing grows here. It's a damn factory, man. Look, when Negan was around, he needed people to provide for him. It's still the same. Nothing's changed.
No, it's different now. We give what we give willingly.
How long is that gonna last? Most of the bridges are out after the big storm. The highway's done. We've scavenged every drop of gas for miles. And we can't make enough corn fuel to run the cars or the trucks. Pretty soon it's gonna be more than a day's ride from one spot to another.
It's on us to figure out how to make it work.
Man, there ain't no us anymore. Everyone's everywhere. That small group we had back in the beginning, we could do anything. That was right. That's what I know.
You want to come home to Alexandria, then?
No. I'm gonna go back to Hilltop. Check on Maggie and the baby.
When you go, someone's got to take your place. Rosita and Eugene are headed to Oceanside next. Maggie's sending food, but not people. And Kingdom's got its own problems, rebuilding after losing its fighters. If Alexandria sends another person out, I could use the help back home. We're not together because things have changed.
Mm-hmm. Thing is, you changed him, Rick. I get it.
Wasn't that cool? Right? You had to listen to it so you know what's up. It sounded really cool. What's your comments on that? What do you think Daryl meant by that? I know what the statement says and what it means. Why don't you give us a call? Toll free, 1-800-976-0305. Comiccon-radio.com. Leave us a message, email us, or on our social media at Comiccon Radio. Now, moving forward, after the funeral, Gregory approaches Tammy and Earl with a bottle of whiskey. And these were alcoholics at one point. They're not anymore. You don't go to alcoholics or ex-drug addicts or anything like that with the thing that made them that. That's like something really bad, and that's trouble waiting to happen. You're not supposed to do it. It's just common sense. So he goes there, and she drinks herself to sleep, leaving Earl and Gregory to talk. And Gregory, being the conniving person, he just goes at it, suggests that Maggie shouldn't be in charge, and it should have been him, and that her buddy Jesus probably faked the ballots. Now, you guys all know Jesus' character in the hit television show. He's a very great guy, very nice, very caring, compassionate, extremely honest. He would never do that. He's the most fair person, I think, on the show, and he's a very humble person. So that right there is wrong. Gregory's a conniver. And he's just talking. And he makes him do something really crazy. Now, before I get into that, on the other side, on the flip side, now I have to go back and forth because the whole show was like that. It's trying to show what's going on and what's happening to each character because it was an hour-and-a-half episode. I think this episode should have been 3 hours long because there's so much to be said. Imagine, almost 2 years from that, a lot has happened. A lot has changed. So there's a lot of storytelling. They're trying their best to share with us what's going on. I just think it should have been a little longer, but hey, who am I? So you see Carol and Daryl, they talk outside the sanctuary, and Carol offers to take over for Daryl, telling him that, King Ezekiel proposed to her earlier that day. Yeah, he did. Duh, I missed to tell you that. So he basically proposed to her. She said, you can't do it at this moment. It's like having a tragic moment, a near-death experience, and then you're like, will you marry me? The girl's going to be like, this probably made you do it. I don't know. You got to propose to people when there's nothing going on. Just everything is the way it is. And then boom, will you marry me? And that's when I think women would be like, oh yes, he does love me. Even though he loves her to death, but I'm just saying. So she's like, you got to wait, boy. And he offers his approval. Daryl's like, that's great. But she rejected him. I think they're going to get married at the end of the season or something's going to happen, but that's for you to see. And Daryl does call Ezekiel corny, and Carol's like, well, what I've been through, corny is good right now, right? Going through the apocalypse, her husband being the way he was, and the death of her daughter, corny is A-okay. Corny is A-okay. And it jumps to Rick and Michonne in bed together. And Michonne mocks Rick, the famous Rick Grimes. Ooh la la. He is the famous Rick Grimes. If you would have saw him on the New York City Comic-Con panel, he's kind of like devastated. People were chanting him like he was the Beatles or some legendary ball player playing his last game. So it was like, Hercules. And he's probably like, why did I leave? But I think if he didn't leave this season, he wouldn't have got this kind of reaction. So I don't know, but him leaving has caused a lot of fans, and it's written in the show. It's written in the show because she's like, ooh, the famous Rick Grimes. And I think the producers and writers and the showrunner, Angela Kang, knows that. And she's probably seen that in, or pre-seen what's going to happen, that people are going to be cheering him like he's a gladiator, and she wrote it in the show, I'm thinking, because even Michonne mocks the famous Rick Grimes, because in real life they're like, Andrew, 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 and then on the show they're like, Rick. So, and they laugh together. And to laugh and to have that moment in such an apocalyptic time, it's kind of cool to see, because it kind of shows they have things under control. And Michonne suggests something in his ear. She's like, they should create a charter and set a rule for the communities. And that's right, because if you're starting to create communities and, we call them outposts before, but they're communities now because it's under their rule. It was outposts under Negan's rule, but because he was the crazy leader. But these communities, you're trying to, create them. You have to create some kind of system of laws that people can follow, because then it will be kind of like a free-for-all. Anybody can do whatever. Then it's going to become chaos. Then it's going to become a he said, she said, and it's going to become a way where people are like, okay, I'm powerful, you're not. And I think it'll start collapsing. And Rick says, set of laws. She's like, no. He says, a set of constitution, whatever. She's like, no. A charter, buddy, a charter. Don't be starting your Rick Anonymous, Shimesis thing. It's a charter. And look up charter if you don't know what it means. But, and they turn off the lights, and Rick realizes he's lucky. And from there it goes, they get it on. They get it on, frick nasty. And then it goes back to the hilltop. And then Maggie is walking Herschel Jr. Not Herschel Jr., but it's named after Herschel. Or you could say Glenn Jr. Walking him. And Gregory and Maggie talk over the baby carriage. And it's the middle of the night. And Maggie says, I got to put the baby to sleep, because she doesn't want to talk to him. She doesn't want to talk to him because he's crazy. And Gregory's like, hey, someone defaced Glenn's grave. Now, Maggie, because I don't know what's up in her head these days, but who would deface Glenn's grave? And Gregory's telling you that? That fool is a treacherous backstabber. I would have been like, you did it, fool. Even if he didn't do it, I would say, you did it. And I would have hit him in the head with a baby bottle and tied him up. To be honest with you, I would have done a lot more. But she gets all like nervous because he knew what would get her. She loved Glenn to death. And I know a lot of couples had their wives and husbands, but that relationship was very, very different, and it evolved as the seasons. But he says that, hey, someone defaced Glenn's grave, and Maggie immediately runs over there, investigates it, and she's ambushed by a hooded and masked Earl. Early boy attacks her. And he's probably drunk because he can't have liquor. He's an ex-alcoholic. He cannot have it. So he's probably drunk, doesn't know what's going on. And baby Herschel falls, the carriage falls and he flops out. He flops out. I was so worried about it because they're struggling. He's trying to kill her. And all of a sudden, Enid just jumps out of nowhere and tries to help Maggie, and she gets pushed and she bangs her head. But Maggie's tough. But then Alden and Cindy rush over and help her. And Maggie sees that it was Earl. I knew kind of it was Earl because who else is it going to be? The community's closed. Gregory is getting him drunk for a reason, putting all this crapola in his head. Of course it's Earl. And that big dude in the hood, who else is it? Some other big dude there? No, it's him. She made him to a point where he probably didn't even know what he was doing. He's an ex-alcoholic drunk. And Maggie goes straight to Gregory's room. She knew what's up. And blood is coming down her face, and she tells him, you want to lead this place? You can't even murder me right. You can't even kill me right. What's up with that? You can't even kill me. And he tries to stab her. That's a second attempt to assassination. First time Earl tries to attack her like, remember that movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer? It looks like Mr. Hook. He was standing in the corner with the hood on his head. Hey, I know what you did last summer. And then Gregory tries to stab her because he's like, oh, are you here alone? Dude, someone tried to kill her. The whole community knows about it. Her baby flopped out of the carriage like a potato. You don't think people know what's up, that she ran over to your room? He's like, oh, this is my opportunity. And she gets the upper hand. She pulls the knife and holds it to his throat. And he's like, ah. But she doesn't kill him, right? Because she has something else for him. So that was a moment that I was like, okay, is Maggie going now? Is Maggie going now? Is this how she's going to go? Is this what's going to happen? No, she's too powerful. She's too great of a key actress or actor in this show to be taken like that. And Rick as well. If Rick and Maggie hasn't died so far, going through Negans and the governors and the so-and-sos and all these people, you think he's going to go just simple because he has to leave season 9 and they're just going to like write him out? No, this is, but still, second attempt on her life. And she's like, I ain't having it. Now, Carol says bye to Ezekiel outside the sanctuary, promising that she isn't running away because he thinks she is. She always did that. You know, to be honest with you, past like 2 or 3 seasons, Carol's one of my favorite actresses. Melissa McBride, you know, she was a casting director, I think, or something like that. And she knows what's up. She helps people in the show. She knows her roles. Past couple of seasons, she's just been like in and out here and there. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And I love that how she's back in such a powerful role. And she's going to be the leader of the sanctuary. They need someone like Carol. See, Daryl, he's a cool dude. He has a lot of heart, but he has a lot of things that happen to him there. But Carol, she's cold when she wants to be and loving when she wants to be. She's like that. And she's a great leader. So for her to take over, I think she's going to be at the sanctuary forever. I think she's just going to keep running it because Daryl doesn't want to go back. And until they find somebody else to run it, I think Carol's going to stay there. So I don't know. We'll see what's up on that. And they say goodbye. And Ezekiel says to her, you know, I'll be content to move at your speed. So he thinks because he proposed to her earlier that day that she's upset about that. She's not. She's just helping a friend. Her and Daryl have this connection that not a lot do on the show. And she's helping him because Daryl has to leave there or else he's going to lose it. He's going to lose his mind. So she said, that's not it. And Carol gives him a hug and a kiss and says, Jerry, promise to take care of Ezekiel for her until she's back. I think she's going to stay there and take over because she is the right fit for that. And she's probably going to know what to do with that place because that place, all they do is take food from everyone. Yes, they're producing corn, but they're making enough just to survive. And that was Maggie's concern with Rick when Rick asked her, hey, can you help them some more? That was her concern. She's like, till when? Yeah, I'll supply people with food. I'll help anyone because I'm a good-hearted person. But till when? These are our enemies. Yeah, they're people and they're human beings and we have to help them. But till when? What are they going to do? So then Rick says, hey, we have a bridge. And Maggie's like, well, they have to be the bridge workers. And I'm thinking Sanctuary is probably going to turn into that community that they're all laborers and they're going to go out and start fixing things. Going back to, because this jumps around and I have to jump around too as the episode goes. I don't want to talk about one scene and then talk about another scene in full. I want to jump around as well, just like the episode does, because I want you to follow it just like that. So back earlier that day, Rick and Michonne, you see them riding to the hilltop where they find a bruised Maggie, you know, upstairs. Rick and Maggie talk actually, Rick is holding baby Herschel, and he really likes the baby a lot, and he says how cute he is. And that's when I brought that thing about helping the saviors. And, she said, sure. But she says one other thing that I didn't say earlier. She has no interest in basically revisiting Alexandria because Rick's asked her. He's like, come on down. Check it out. I've changed it. She's like, no, because you know who's there. Negan's there. And whether he's in captivity somewhere in a room or whatever, but he's been in capture for almost 2 years. So she hasn't gone once in those 18 months. So that's kind of crazy. I wouldn't either. God forbid. What would you do? What would you do if someone murdered? Now, you got to look at it this way. It's the apocalypse. Women and men are not just free-flowing, especially someone you want to be married to, because the people that are left over are not your normal people. They're like, hardcore people. And if you find someone that you love and it's compatible and they're generous and amazing as you, and then some person kills them, how would you feel? I want to know. Can you please let me know? Please call me toll free 1-800-976-0305 or go to our website comicon-radio.com or on social media at Comic-Con Radio. Let me know. Let me know what you think about that situation, because that's hurtful. And of course she's not going to go there because she's like, you're my friend. You're my buddy. We went through hell and back. And then the person that murders my husband and all these other friends of ours and ruined everything for us for all that time, you didn't kill him. You just kept him alive because you want some kind of change and to show that people can change. Let me tell you, buddy, this is the apocalypse. Nobody cares about your feelings. They care day to day. Today, tomorrow, the day after. Today's a day. Give me a good day today. Give me a good week this week. Give me a good month this month. Give me a good year this year. It's like that. It's just day-to-day living. So I don't know if it's going to prove a point. It might not. But to her, Negan should be gone. And that scene in the last episode of season 8 kind of proves a point that Jesus and Daryl and Maggie, they're going to get Negan and kill him. That's not intended for Rick. I hope you know that. Yeah, they might be upset at Rick for doing that, but no. Come on, Jesus, he's the best guy there. They're going to get Negan. They're probably going to go there, attack, grab Negan, and kill him because he deserves it. He's a bad boy. Anyways, that night, Earl's in handcuffs, and Gregory's hanging from a noose while sitting on a horse. That guy is such a conniver, but that scene was very important. I think that should have happened. I think that because this guy is trying to kill you twice. Once, he makes an ex-alcoholic drink and pushes him to a point to murdering you. And then you go and talk to him, and then he tries to stab you. What else are you going to do? How can you trust this guy? Ever. How can you trust him after that? He's tried to kill you twice. He uses a person as a weapon. Then he has a knife as a weapon. What else is he going to do next? And he's pleading for his life not to kill him. And she says she's not ashamed of it. And she has her little talk. And she tells Daryl, hey, Daryl, do it. And Daryl sends the horse off. And you see Gregory hanging and dying. At that moment, these kids do run out. And Michonne tries to have it delayed, but it's too late. And Maggie orders the kids back and off to bed. But it's still a very... what is that? It's a scene of change. Because Gregory was from the previous seasons. And it shows a change. It shows Maggie's not going to take it anymore. She has heart, but she also means business. And she needs to lead the way she wants to lead. She cannot just do what anybody else says because she's a human. We're humans. We have our own feelings. If something happens to me, I want justification my way. If something's happened to someone else, I don't know how they feel. So I might say peace is the thing, but that person's like, no, kill that person because they're feeling that way. And Maggie stands by her decision. She's like, I don't care. I stand behind my decision. This is a long time coming. And she says, this is not the beginning of something, but I don't want to go through it again. So she's saying that, okay, I'm not just going to go and hang everybody. This is not like the beginning of something new that we're going to do hangings from now on. We're going to grab people in the middle of the night out of their bed and hang them because they looked at me wrong, like a, corrupt, person, like current times, like a corrupt dictator. No, she's saying this is not something like a beginning of something new. I'm not a dictator, but I'll do it again if I have to. If someone tries to murder you twice, once using another person, once with their own hands in front of you, and this is the apocalypse, and already trust is scarce, and people are dying everywhere. So that's it. That's what happens. And you see Gregory hanging, and Daryl cuts him down. And as he cuts him down, that's when it goes. It was a great episode. I love it. Episode 2 is next Sunday for all you fans. And the next episode is going to go into many different things. Many different things. And you need to watch each episode. Whether you watch it on TV, you're pre-recorded, however, just watch it. This is an amazing show, The Walking Dead. There's podcasts out there that created a whole world around just this show. That's how important this show is, and that's how amazing The Walking Dead is. Of course, we're Comic-Con Radio, and we're going to be covering a multitude of shows, but Walking Dead is amazing. And every week, one episode is dedicated to The Walking Dead. And this is season 9. And as we see Andrew Lincoln exit, who's coming this season? The Whisperers. They're coming. We don't know when, but they're coming. They're on their way. So we have to look out for that. So like every other show, I say to you guys and gals and the wonderful people out there, we're in this universe together. The wonderful universe of us. My name is Galaxy. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And this is Galaxy signing out till the next amazing episode. See you then. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Tune in for your daily shows of Comic-Con Radio. Go to comiccon-radio.com. Reach us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Comic-Con Radio. You can call us toll-free right now. 800-976-0305. 800-976-0305. Comic-Con Radio, taking the world one listener at a time.